Today I'm joined by Greg Buchanan, the radio host for the WPCA, as well as the radio host for the Rangeland Derby down at the Calgary Stampede. He's here today to talk about the Rangeland Derby, and so thank you so much for being with me today, Greg.
Thanks a lot for having me, Tommy.
How have the first few days of racing been down at Calgary so far, especially with all this heat?
We're 20 years of covering the Calgary Stampede, and it's the same old, same old. A little hot this week, 31, 32 degrees yesterday. They're expecting a high of 35, 36, which will make it feel like 38. Like over the 30s doesn't really matter if it's 32 or 33. And honestly, the crowds are amazing. Packed grandstand last night, expecting more of the same all week long. But I hate driving on the Deerfoot. There we go.
And you mentioned that the fans aren't exactly appreciating the heat, but how much does the heat affect the drivers and the horses for the chuck wagon racing?
But the heat is just like the horses are just like humans. Some people like the heat, some people don't, and the horses are the same way. The horses are taken care of very well. If you go in the barns, probably on the grounds of the Stampede, outside of some of the buildings, the coolest place to go to is in the barns where the horses are, because the fans are going, the lights are down, and they're treated the way they should be treated, like a star athlete prior to performing in a heat. But yeah, honestly, it's not going to really be an impact here at the Stampede.
And so Ray Corrado Jr. and Jamie Labicane, who are both local drivers, are near the top of the aggregate standings. There are also a bunch of other local drivers intermediately throughout the standings. How have they been doing so far, and what is the path for success for them to try and be in that final dash for cash and win a Calgary Stampede title?
There's no secret in chuck wagon racing. The secret of success in chuck wagons is to be fast, but more important is to be clean. Kurt Bensmiller, a four-time Calgary Stampede champion, calls Dewberry home, is sitting in the top 12, even though he knocked down a barrel, 5 seconds. So he has an uphill climb. But, knocking on the door there too is Chris Molly, a former Calgary Stampede champion down the road in Chauvin. So he's in contention. So it's anybody's guess right now. Like even Jason Glass knocks down a barrel, wins the day money, and Jason Glass is still in the top 10. So it is really, when you knock down that 5, it's an uphill climb, but at the same time, one door opens, another one closes for some of those. I mean, right now it's going to be coming the battle of the chasers and the chasees. So if you're in that top 5, top 6, and you want to be in the top 3 at the end Saturday night, you want to stay there. Those ones behind you want to catch you.
And finally, Greg, who has really impressed you so far throughout these first few days of the Rangeland Derby, and who would you pick to be the final champion of the Rangeland Derby for 2024?
Covering the WPCA this year, one thing I've noticed that anybody in this association can win day money in a given night. One guy that I've been impressed with since coming over the WPCA is Chad Fike. I'm not saying this because Chad's on top of the aggregate standings. I said this on night number 1 on the WPCA radio, which, by the way, you can listen to on Stingray on Drumheller 910, and also WPCA.com. There's a bit of a plug there, Tommy. But I would say Chad Fike is the guy, because Chad Fike's that one driver in the WPCA that you're waiting to win that big show. He's had a few knocks at it. Had a chance in Ponoka, didn't work out for him. Had a chance there in Bonneville, didn't work out for him. So I think he is the next one that steps up. And Chad Fike right now is your aggregate show leader. And I'm not saying that. I said that on night number 1. So there we go.
Thank you so much for all the information today, Greg, and I look forward to those final few days of chuck wagon racing and, of course, Championship Sunday coming up.
Thank you very much, Tommy.